New Zealand is a very isolated country. It's far away from other lands and is surrounded by the ocean. Because of this, New Zealand has a special charm. The nature there is so beautiful, and the culture is rich and different. People began to live there only recently in history. Many people from different parts of the world have moved to New Zealand over time, making it a place with many stories and traditions.
The first people to arrive in New Zealand came around 800 years ago. They were known as Polynesians. These early travelers were skilled in navigating the vast ocean. They sailed great distances across the Pacific as part of a big journey known as the Great Polynesian Expansion. Using large canoes called waka, they reached New Zealand and other distant islands like Hawaii and Easter Island, showing their amazing skills.
When the first settlers arrived in New Zealand, it was around 800 years ago, which is not that long in history. These settlers were part of a larger movement across the Pacific Ocean. Their arrival marked the beginning of human life on these islands, and these settlers are the ancestors of the Maori people. They brought with them their skills and customs, laying the roots of what we now know as Maori culture.
Maori people were really good at many things such as navigating the seas, farming, and crafting. They had a strong social structure based on tribes called iwi and a system of oral traditions known as whakapapa. This system was very important because it connected individuals to their ancestors and the land. If you're interested in learning more, you can receive transcripts of all our podcasts by clicking the join button and supporting us, which we really appreciate.
The Maori people also built fortified settlements called pia, which were usually on high ground. These were not only homes, but also protection against attacks from enemies. Their spiritual beliefs were deeply woven into everyday life. They followed polytheistic traditions, which means they believed in many gods and spirits. These beliefs guided their actions and how they interacted with the world around them.
For Maori, being close to the land and their ancestors was very important. They believed in living in harmony with nature, respecting it as an essential part of their spiritual world. Their lifestyle and beliefs showed a balance between daily life and their natural surroundings. This connection with the land not only helped them survive, but also helped their culture grow and stay strong over the years.
By the 16th century, Maori society had formed its own special cultural identity. One very important part of this culture was tattooing. Tattoos were not just for decoration, but showed social status and personal stories. These designs were unique, using symbols that told about the person's tribe, family, and achievements. Being tattooed was something significant and showed how one connected with their history and identity.
The chiefs, or rangatira, played a central role in guiding the Maori people. They held power and were respected, but needed to be careful leaders. Rangatira had to maintain balance and harmony within the tribe. They led their people in peace and war. During times of conflict, the Rangatira's leadership was tested. They were expected to protect the tribe's land and resources, which often led to increased intertribal warfare.
The Maori made their weapons using materials like wood, bone, and stone, given that they didn't have metal. These tools were not just practical, but also crafted with great care and skill. The Maori used these weapons during battles, but relied heavily on strategies to intimidate their enemies. This involved psychological tactics, such as the haka. The haka was not just a dance, but a powerful display of strength and unity, performed to unsettle opposing warriors before a battle.
The haka showcased fierce movements and chanting that showed the might of the tribe. It also served to boost the warriors' morale before engaging in battle. Haka has become a symbolic piece of Maori culture, still performed today on various important occasions, yet its origins tie back to preparing for conflict. This deep tradition reflects the importance of courage and coordination in Maori society, which were key factors for survival and success.
Despite the tense meeting with the Maori, Abel Tasman's discovery had a lasting impact. New Zealand was now on European maps for the first time. In 1645, it was recorded as Nova Zealandia, named after the Dutch province of Zealand. This marked the beginning of Europe's awareness of New Zealand, setting the stage for future explorations. The naming was symbolic, signifying a new land for Europeans to consider for exploration.
In 1642, Dutch explorer Abel Tasman set sail on a journey that would eventually lead him to New Zealand's shores. He was the first European to see the land. However, What started as a promising exploration quickly turned challenging. Tasman's first encounter with Maori ended in conflict, leaving both sides wary. The Maori, protective of their land, saw Tasman's ships as a threat, leading to a clash that forced Tasman to depart suddenly.
These expeditions by Cook and Surville were crucial. They introduced New Zealand to the wider European world more formally. Cook's detailed maps were used in subsequent explorations and contributed significantly to the global navigation routes. They provided valuable information about the geography, helping later European traders and settlers understand New Zealand's landscape. This knowledge became a bridge between the isolated islands and the rest of the world.
Following Tasman's brief visit, over 100 years passed before the next European explorers arrived. In 1769, Captain James Cook, representing Britain, and shortly after Jean-François de Surville from France, set foot on New Zealand's land. Cook, in particular, played a vital role. Through his mapping, he opened New Zealand to the world. His efforts not only charted the coastlines but also fostered relations, though those were mixed with friendly exchanges and skirmishes.
Cook's detailed maps were not only important for explorers, but also played a big role in future trade. As Europeans began to understand New Zealand better, they saw the value in trading with the Maori, who were eager to exchange local goods. The desire for European items like iron tools, fabrics, and other goods opened many doors. This trade brought together two different worlds, blending old traditions with new ideas and items.
The interactions between Maori and Europeans were not always smooth. Some were peaceful, with friendly exchanges and mutual respect. However, there were also times of misunderstanding and conflict. Europeans were particularly interested in some local resources, which they wanted to trade. This interest sometimes caused tension, but it also led to the Maori wanting more of the European goods, especially new tools and other unique things.
One of the most significant impacts of European contact was the introduction of firearms to New Zealand. This changed things drastically for the Maori people. They began wanting guns to protect their land and gain an advantage in local conflicts. This desire led to the Musket Wars, which changed the power dynamics between tribes. It was a time when having more powerful weapons meant more control over land and resources.
The Musket Wars were not just about gaining power. They also brought about a lot of change in Maori society. Tribes with access to European guns were more successful in battles. These wars also caused many deaths and shifted the balance of power among various tribes. The introduction of firearms showed how something new from the Europeans could have such a large impact on the old ways and traditions of the Maori people.
Samuel Marsden was an important figure because he helped to set up the first mission in a place called Oihi Bay in 1814. This mission became a center of learning and spreading new ideas. One of the most important things Marsden did was help write the Maori language for the first time. This meant that the Maori could now read and write their own stories and histories, which was very beneficial for keeping their culture alive.
During the early 1800s, missionaries began arriving in New Zealand with the aim to spread Christianity among the Maori. They were focused on teaching the Maori about new religious beliefs. People like Samuel Marsden played a big role in this process. These missionaries didn't just talk about religion, but also introduced the idea of reading and writing in the Maori language. This was a significant change for the Maori people at that time.
While some of these land deals were made fairly, others were not as clear. Many Maori did not fully understand the agreements because of the language difference. These early land purchases sometimes led to misunderstandings. This laid the groundwork for future conflicts over land. The arrival of the settlers and missionaries was the start of a new chapter in New Zealand's history. It was a time of both learning and challenges, as new ways met old traditions.
The introduction of Christianity and literacy had a big impact on Maori society. With the ability to read and write, Maori people could communicate more with the Europeans. They could understand new ideas and ways of living. However, this also meant changes in their traditional ways. At the same time, some early European settlers started buying lands from the Maori. These early purchases were usually small, but they marked the beginning of much bigger changes.
In the late 1830s, the New Zealand Company was very active. They wanted to buy large parts of New Zealand land and turn it into a colony. This made the British government worry about the rights of the Maori. They knew that the Maori people were concerned about losing their land and sovereignty. To prevent problems, the British decided to step in and find a way to protect Maori interests while also establishing their presence.
This worry led to the signing of the Treaty of Waitangi in 1840. Captain William Hobson and around 40 Maori chiefs agreed on this treaty. It aimed to protect Maori rights while recognizing British sovereignty. But there were challenges because the treaty was written in both English and Maori. The two versions had some differences, causing misunderstandings about what was agreed, and these misunderstandings would later lead to disputes.
After the treaty, New Zealand became an official British colony in 1841. This meant it was no longer part of New South Wales, Australia. Soon, many Europeans came to live there. They wanted a new life and a chance to own land. In the 1840s and 1850s, thousands of settlers arrived. This wave of immigration led to the founding of new settlements, such as Auckland and Christchurch, and helped develop older places too.
The Maori initially liked the trading opportunities the Europeans brought. However, the sheer number of new settlers was overwhelming. Despite the treaty's agreements on sovereignty, land disputes quickly became an issue. The first conflict, known as the Flagstaff War, happened between 1845 and 1846. Although it ended in a ceasefire, it was clear that tensions over land and resources were rising and would continue to affect the relationship between Maori and settlers. We hope you enjoyed exploring New Zealand's history with us. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our podcast for more fascinating stories. Plus, by hitting the join button, you can support us and gain access to full transcripts of our episodes. Your support ensures we can continue sharing these amazing tales with you all.